guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another episode of Big Sister. This is my third episode of Big Sister. If you guys are new to my channel and you haven't seen the other ones, what is this red mark? Girl, I always get red marks on my chest and neck. And the lighting sucks, but I'm gonna continue. So today's Big Sister video is gonna be another personal topic and something that my own personal story I want to share with you guys about this. And I think you guys relate really well when I talk to stories that have happened to me personally, and if you can relate to them. And I can also give you my 2 cents on the situation and any advice and tips and just all of that jazz. So today I'm going to be talking about long distance relationships. And I actually was in a long distance relationship for a few years, and it was pretty long distance. So I just wanted to share my story today and see if we can get a little chat flowing about it. So my long distance relationship story actually was with my first love, and it was a great first love. I'm just gonna be like totally open and honest about this. I don't think he watches my channel or anything like that, and I won't get too far into it, but my first love I actually met at the place I used to work at, and he was there for the summer. And it was kind of a summer romance kind of thing. It was a very quick love kind of thing. We both fell in love very quickly, and it was great. It was a great, probably we only had a couple of months together, and we spent a lot of time together. It was an instant connection. It was just a great relationship. But then when I found out that he had to leave to go back home to another country, I was like totally devastated. He was actually from Jamaica, and I know Jamaica's not super far, but like to know that the person that I connected with so quickly and fell in love with had to leave was like super devastating. And how long ago was this? This was quite a while ago, like almost 5 years at this point. Again, my first love, I was young. I think I was almost 18 at the time. I was about to turn 18, the summer before I turned 18. I know, I just said 18 so many times. But yeah, so we met that summer. We spent a lot of time together, and then at the end of the summer he had to go back home. And we were both like totally devastated. I was about to go into my second semester at college. I believe it was my second or third semester in the fall, as he had to go back home. And I was like so in love, and I know looking back, I mean, like, I don't regret anything about this. In fact, it was an amazing experience and a great first love, and I only have fond memories of it. But your first love hits you pretty hard most of the time. If you can relate, comment below. But a first love can hit you like a ton of bricks, like bam. Like, it was like I had all the feels for this guy, like, and I know he had them for me too. It was a great click. So when he had to leave, we were just spending a lot of time together, and I didn't want him to leave. I didn't want this to end, and we both were trying to figure out what we could do to make it work. So, being the adventurous spirit that I am, I asked my mom if I could take a semester off from college and go and live with him for a little while. I know, I'm insane, but I would do anything for love. I'm a hopeless romantic. It's just me. But so, and my mom is very supportive, and she understands, and she's like, you only live once. Not a YOLO term, guys, but like, you know, this is your first love. She knew how in love we were, and she was supportive about it. She was like, you know, she talked to his parents and talked to everything, and we got everything put together, and I took the semester off and just planned a 6-week trip with my love at the time to Jamaica. So I was super nervous, super excited. He had already gone down, and we were counting down the days for me to go. It was just like very exciting. It wasn't scary to me. I was more excited. For some reason I just had like an immediate trust with this man. And I'm not like saying, you know, go and move to another country for someone you just met, but you know, I didn't move. It was only for a little while. College would always be there, and I don't need to explain myself. Why am I explaining myself? I'm just telling you guys the story. So yeah, it was very exciting. So I decided to go down there. I went down, and you know, it was definitely an experience, another huge experience for me. It was kind of like an eye-opening experience to go to a new country. I had been to Mexico, but very briefly, and so it was very cool to go down there and really dive into the culture, because you know, you're not on like the tourist area, you're like really in it. We went to, half his family lived in the country and half lived in the city. I got to see a lot of places, meet a lot of people, and it was a very positive experience, although I got homesick very easily, and I did come home a little bit early. And that's where the trouble starts, as soon as you're not together anymore. Trust me, we were used to long distance, you know, constant phone calls and Skyping, but it begins to take a little bit of a toll on your personal life outside of the relationship. And I'll admit that, like, I would spend a lot more time at home. I have something in my eye. I'd spend a lot more time at home, you know, waiting for Skype or a phone call. But I was okay with that at the time. I was very happy, and being phone calls and Skyping was really just second nature to us, and we bonded that way. Things were just as good for us via technology as it was in person. We could talk for hours on the phone, endlessly. So as time would go on, I think it kind of came to the amount of time where every 3 months one of us would come to see each other. And you know, I liked going down there. Although I was very homesick, I did like going down there, you know, a change of scenery, and I really liked the environment down there. People are so freaking nice in Jamaica, by the way. Like, so polite and so sweet and down to earth. It's just great. And his family's awesome. I always loved his family. It was a great experience. You know, they even helped pay for my ticket going down there. They were very cool. So a few months later, the problem was, as we were talking on the phone, this video is very lengthy, I apologize, hopefully you're enjoying the story, but as we were always talking on the phone, eventually, he was very patient. I'm not a patient person, I won't lie about that. I'd get frustrated and I would miss him, and I would, you know, want to end things, but I couldn't. Like, I would try to, but then I would miss him because I was still in love with him. I would want to break up, and we would teeter-totter, but like, we always stayed together. And a few months later, he came back here for a few months, and he went home, and I think we both ended up going back and forth a total of 3 times each. We were together for, I think, about 2 years. And the last time I went down there, we talked about making things more serious, because when you're in such a far long distance relationship, not just like, you know, an hour drive or something like that, you have to make a decision for one of you to move. And, you know, I know he wanted to move here, but it's a process. If you've ever, you know, known anybody who was trying to get into the country, it's a process. It takes a lot of work, and we were really young. So at the time, I think I was 19 and he was a couple years older. And, you know, he was gonna go to school down there, and I was in school up here. We just were not in the place to make that kind of commitment to each other, although we had talked about it and considered it. You know, we were considering taking the next step in the relationship, but being so young and both of us not having a career established or anything of that nature, it wasn't our time. So at the end of the day, we had to just move on from each other after a couple of years and constant back and forths, and you know, we invested a lot of time and a lot of money into each other, and it was a great first love, you know, and I look back on it with very fond memories, and I don't regret the experience at all. It was an eye-opening experience for my heart, for my soul, just for everything, because I got to experience such new things. What's my hair doing? I got to experience such new things, emotionally, physically, seeing new things, feeling new things. It was a great first love, and that's what I think a lot of people need to take away from their first love, is to let go of the negative and see the positive that you had experienced in it, because it kind of shapes you to who you become. Take the negative, don't let them jade you, help them open you to new experiences in the future, because that's like the most important thing, is taking the past and making it to a better future. We all go through things, so why not turn them into something positive? So that's my own personal long distance relationship story. I'm trying to think if I missed any part of that. That's pretty much what it came down to. We had very cool, supportive friends and family in the relationship, so that was cool. That helps. I know that personally, if you're in a long distance relationship and you don't have support from people outside of each other, it can be extremely challenging. So I got really lucky having a very strong support system. I need a drink. I'm talking so much. Hold on. As Bunny would do. Okay, so going into like tips and things like that. This video is so long. So if any of you guys are in long distance relationships trying to figure out what to do next, and you're constantly going back and forth with each other trying to figure things out, if you've been together a long time and you're doing this and you're getting tired of it, I think it's really important to sit down with the partner and figure out what the next step would be, because you can only do that for so long. We were both so mentally, physically, spiritually, in our relationship, everything was having a major toll taken on it, because it drains you. It drains you because you miss the person, you want to be with them, you literally can't. But yeah, sit down and figure out what's next, because it can really just mess you guys up, and you don't want your love to be ruined because of this continuous issue. So take some steps to figure out what's the best next step for you both, and whether or not you need to move on and meet someone locally, or if you're willing for one of you to make a move, or you know, maybe you need to get married, maybe you need to, whatever the next step is, if you've been together a long time and you feel ready. It's definitely a personal choice within the relationship. You know, we were very young, unstable, unready, and you know, not saying we were perfect either. We had issues like any other relationship that needed work, but yeah, I think our relationship had just run its course. And sometimes that's the thing with relationships, you know, you can be in love, but sometimes they're just not a forever thing. I don't think that's a bad thing, and I don't think that needs to be perceived as a bad thing. You meet certain people in your life for a reason, and you fall in love, and you kind of shape each other and change each other a little bit. And when the relationship runs its course, sometimes it's just over at the end, and that's all you can do is just look back at the memories and feel positive about them and move on from it, and eventually meet someone else, be alone, whatever. So for those of you who are in a relationship long distance wise and are just looking for some tips that, you know, will get you through, we had some great tips that I can share with you guys that were good for us in the long run. It's just certain things could not get us to stay together. So, okay, so some good tips I would say are set time aside for yourself, set time aside for your personal life outside of the relationship, and set time aside for you two to bond. It's a major part of not losing yourself in this long distance relationship by making time to have out in the real world, physically with friends, family, coworkers, working, whatever. Don't let the relationship consume you, because eventually you'll resent that person for missing certain things or anything of that nature. Set time aside, you know, if you want to, how we were personally, we would talk in the morning and at night, like right when we woke up, say hello, whatever, and then we would chat before bed, whether it was long or short, and then if you needed to call throughout the day because you miss them, sometimes you just want to hear their voice. I get that, it's normal, but make sure you set time aside for yourself. And Skyping. Skyping is a major, huge part of long distance relationships. Make sure that you set time aside to Skype. I wouldn't say Skyping every day, because I think it can really consume you. I do. So maybe every other day, maybe once a week, whatever fits your schedule best. But again, make sure you set time aside for yourself, because that's super, super important. You can still go on dates too when you're in a long distance relationship. I think that it's really cute. I know this is like, it takes courage to do this, but I think it's really cute if you both decide to go to the same restaurant, or even just like a Starbucks, whatever, and bring your laptop and Skype with them. I think it's really cute. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, both of you maybe are eating dinner, just sit and talk. Make sure you set time aside to still have the romance and keep that little spark alive between the two of you. It's important. You can kind of get into routines and grooves and whatnot in those kind of relationships, so make sure you keep a little spark alive here and there, and plan visits with each other too. That's so important. I mean, plan ahead. Don't just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. Like, make sure you have something planned, and I think it's really important because it's also something to look forward to. When we'd have our trips planned in advance, like months in advance, and you can count them down, and it's fun and you're excited. And when you're missing that person, it's really kind of lame, but I used to keep his cologne here, the one that he had at home too, like an extra one I would keep here, and I liked the smell of it. I might spray my shirt with it or my pillow, whatever. It's lame, but it's not lame. It's kind of very comforting, actually. So that was something that I used to do to help me feel close to him, keeping an article of their clothing. But I think, like I've been kind of saying throughout this video, it's a majorly big fact to know when the relationship needs to have a next step, whether you need to continue to move forward with it or to step back, because it can definitely take a toll on your soul. And I know I keep saying all of that, but it is super important. And long distance relationships are real tough. Who just texted me? Mark. Hi. Marquise. Especially when your long distance relationship is your first love, you know, it's so personal. Everybody's situation is different. But if you feel like the relationship is doing more negative to you than positive, then it's definitely time to consider letting go and remembering that there are further options outside. Love is a very complex thing. It takes a damn toll sometimes, girl. But there's a fine line between knowing when to let go and when not to let go. And just remembering that there are things outside of it, like love can eat you alive. Like, and I think a lot of people stay with people because they're afraid of not finding someone else. And that's a huge lie, because there's always potential to meet someone else, and especially if you're unhappy. That's a whole nother video though, but like knowing when to let go of a relationship. I actually watched one from Missy Lynn the other day and it was amazing. She's amazing, I love her. But sticking with long distance relationships, knowing when to let go when you are feeling more sad than happy, and when you feel like there's no hope for the relationship. There should always be progression in the relationship, physically and emotionally, like whether you're trying to find a way to get closer to each other, whether it's moving or planning more trips. I know it can be extremely pricey being in a long distance relationship. There are certain points, whether it's mentally, physically, financially, mentally, when to let go. And that's all in your own personal heart. And I think a lot of people know when it's time, but it's extremely hard to let go. In my personal long distance relationship, we broke up and got back together a few times because I constantly could not handle the pain of being away from him, but then when we weren't talking at all, it felt worse. So it's really hard to let go of a long distance relationship because they're always still a phone call away. It may feel easy because they're not there next to you physically, because they never just like hiccup and coughed. Okay, but it may feel easy because at first because they were never there physically next to you often, but knowing that they're a phone call away or a text away and they're there when you're lonely, it's hard to let go that way as well. So there's a lot of different sides to it that people don't always consider. But if you are in a long distance relationship, I feel you, it's challenging, but true love at the end of the day conquers all. That's how I feel personally. I think when you're in the right frame of mind and you're in the right stage of your life, you can make anything work. So if you're really in love and happy with each other and you're in a long distance, you know, fight for it. Fight for it. Make it work. Don't give up on true love if you feel it in your heart and soul. I think that's just a really big thing too. I'm not trying to make this video negative because I think there's a lot of long distance relationships that can work, and it's a struggle, and I've been there, and you guys are real strong if you're doing it because I know how much strength it takes. But if you're really in love and you feel like you can make it work, make it work. True love. I'm a hopeless romantic. You saw what I did for love. I would do anything for love. If you want to make it work, make it work. The two of you come up with a plan. Get her done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't extremely long and unfun for you. If you like my personal stories, comment below and let me know what you want to see in the next Big Sister video. I could just blah 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 about my personal experiences all day every day. I was thinking maybe doing one on online dating and my personal experiences from online dating, so let me know if that interests you for the next video. And I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe because I post every day. I love you. Bye.